a very different video from what I usually film, and this time I'm going to really visually show you guys what you can really expect, and I want to really challenge you guys to start thinking about how you can actually tangibly start just seeing your goals, actually understand what ambition truly is and what you can generally accomplish in the next 5 years. Show you a big difference between a very good accomplishment and an absolute like fuck you level and accomplishment. So I really want to show you guys and make you guys challenge that level of ambition that you have, because I feel like now with how much content you've seen that I've posted on my YouTube, as well as just I feel like I have a good understanding of my audience and what you guys truly are about, and I have the sense of connection where when I am talking about such things, you guys understand that it's really a big vision. It's really a big picture, and I want to show you guys that, and I want to really challenge your level of thinking, and also obviously touch on a lot of mindsets and just things where I'm going to try to be as less generic as possible. Some of you, I feel like there's just so much mindset shit out there, like, yeah, be obsessed, do this, do that, and everybody's heard it, but what do you actually do about it? How can you actually process that and feel it, right? So I'm just gonna really film this video now and really just go straight into it, show you what I have created. Now, a bit about me, where I am. I'm 20 years old. I've managed to make $1 million. I'm on track to make a nice 3 to 6 million just comfortably if I take absolutely zero risk. So a bit more context around that. In the last 1 year, I've managed to just scale my agency even more. Now we're at a 7-figure run rate for the year. Like literally about to do probably multi 7 figures by the end of this year in terms of run rate. And as I'm doing that, I'm also reinvesting a lot of the money back in the business. Now, there's two archetypes in the online business. At least that's what I like to think, where there's one where you want to just really make a lot of cash flow and keep your business as lean as possible, as trim as possible, keep it at literally 95% margins. It's possible, but you're going to hit an eventual wall, in my opinion, where you're not going to really be able to scale past the 100, 200 mark. And of course, yes, you can do that and still keep margins at 80, 85%, which is still very good. But look, there's a whole other side to what real business is actually like. And I want to really touch on this, and I'm going to spend a few minutes on just this one topic, because the real money, it's really about how you do real business. And real businesses do not have 90% cash flows, okay? They do not have, at least that's the traditional business idea. Now with AI, God knows what's possible. But look, when you have a real business, finance is always a big issue, keeping nice margins, always having like a nice stacked team who can just really do a lot of things. And you're really looking at how your business is valued instead of your monthly numbers, right? So that's really the second game, and it's really up to you on the path you're gonna go at. So, in the start of this year, I had a very good decision that I had to make, which is, should I stay at that 80-90% level and that mark and just simply get a nice amount of cash flow, keep that going for nice 2-3 years, and I would have easily been across 10 million by that time, like literally that with my Bitcoin investments, as well as just everything that I'll be doing easily, very easily. But I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna take more risk and not stay at just the 3 to 6 million, and I'm not really satisfied with that. So I'm just gonna really take a lot of risk, and it's scary because now, on an average, we're gonna probably spend $1 million this year in just literal expenses, which is insane, because just last year making that much would have been just very insane again. And I have started off with this whole idea of, yes, keep it as efficient as possible, keep your business as efficient as possible. And I would preach that as well in the start, because it is possible in this day and age, especially with AI. Like 3 years ago, I didn't have Claude. Dude, this presentation took me 20 minutes to make thanks to Claude, all right? Only him to thank. But 2-3 years ago when I started, you didn't have that opportunity, right? But now you do. So you can make it as efficient as possible. And it obviously matters on what business you pick. So obviously think wisely, think smartly. And in Dubai, I don't really have to worry about taxes. I'm really just building, and really I'm just compounding, right? So at this stage, at being at this level where you can nicely, comfortably make this much, you're young, everybody's looking like, what the fuck, how have you done this? It's insane. Having this much amount of money, you can literally have your dream watches, your dream supercars, and literally just a bunch of aura, as people like to say, right? But no, like, trying to just show you what else is possible, right? So you can say this is the finish line, but Now, a bit about obsession, right? Which is, you know how Instagram, every time you see motivational shit, it's always like, you have to be obsessed, you have to do this, you have to wake up every day and really want it bad and this, that. But look, how about just making obsession as your flow, as your standard, right? It's not something you're really looking up to and you're idolizing because you want to be like that. It's just something where it's your starting line, right? And you will eventually get there. That's why I'm at right now. Just showing up harder than I ever do, and literally having an even more sense of urgency every single day. Every day waking up just like I have not worked this hard before, just trying to go and work even harder despite having all of this success, right? Despite having all of these comforts. Tomorrow I could go and rent a Lamborghini and drive it and go and buy a nice watch, or just literally take a holiday and just enjoy and have just burn like 5 grand, which is a lot for just like a couple of days, right? And you could just go and do that, or I'm just gonna spend more hours. I'm gonna say no even more. I'm gonna just have a tighter system with my day, and less leakage in every part of the day. Now, what I mean by that, it's really about even in that day, looking at every half an hour and every 1 hour and actually what I'm spending my time on. So yes, in between I take my lunch, I take my dinner. That's it. Everything else is just at work. But even at work, where is the work leaking? Because at a point, and even in the start, honestly, it cannot just be hard work. You have to obviously think about what you are going to work on inside of the business. What is actually going to move the needle? So many people come to me like, dude, how have you figured out this invoicing process or this invoicing system in your business? And I'm like, dude, you don't have a lot of invoices to send in this month. Like, your revenue is not even 10 grand a month. Why are you worrying about who to invoice and how to just set up a nice automated system? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, right? So even just thinking about that, and it's something you obviously want to do at the start, but it keeps compounding. Everything that I'm talking about in here, it will keep compounding, and that's really what I'm trying to show you, the compounding effect of if you keep sacrificing, you keep doing things. And yes, when you think about it, just keep compounding. There's never going to be really an end goal, and I'll get into that in a second, but it's really about every single thing that you learn in the start and you see some motion with, and then just keep compounding on that. Because now it's like when I do my day's work, like the work is even more focused, it's even more higher leverage, there's even lesser leakage, and I'm also being even more cautious and more aware of where am I actually spending my time inside that day, right? Just working like I haven't broken through yet, because like for example today we made 2.5 grand in just sales. We signed another deal, which is a nice 6-month contract now, at least average 15 grand a month. Really, really good in terms of just recurring revenue. It's a good amount for just monthly revenue as well. And as soon as that deal really got through and the client gave confirmation, let's go ahead with the agreement, I just noticed something on their Instagram, and I was like, well, I see them working with these brands. Let's just reach out to them. Let's see what happens, right? And I immediately did that. Immediately put those brands inside of Claude, give me their emails, blah, 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 do my outreach shit, and boom, in 10-15 minutes, I have that thing now. I have this small bunch of leads that I want to reach out to, and I reached out to them as well with some really nice copywriting, things that have really worked, and well, boom, I'm still as urgent. I am still working like this is not enough, because today was again a very good day. And honestly, today, it's honestly the results of the work that I've done weeks ago, right? Weeks ago. So it's always that you're gonna have to see, and you're gonna see what you do a few weeks ago is gonna result now. What you don't do now is gonna result in a few weeks. It's really about keeping that compounding and keeping that motion, just keep on going, right? Keep it happening. That's what I'm trying to show you with these mindset models. So it's really loading, right? As I mentioned, just loading up momentum and just keep on keeping up and grabbing momentum. And when you do that, as well as just how you can efficiently just start up your business like I have, and just keep the finances so lean, so mean, and just really be so cost effective, efficient, and just really looking at scaling. And then right now I have a spending problem in the business. I am not investing enough. I'm on track to spend $1 million this year, and I'm still not spending enough, right? Think about that for a second, right? Amazing position to be in, always gives you breathing room, because every business fails because they do not have money, right? They do not have money, they cannot really function, they cannot really run, and boom, that they go down. Obviously, the most important thing about any business, right? And that's where with that as well as just loading it all up, 10-hour work days. And look, I'm not trying to be that testosterone macho guy where it's like, yeah, I'm doing 14-hour work days. Because look, when I'm saying 10 hours, I mean pure 10 hours of like literal strict work. Okay, people say, yeah, you should do 4 hours of deep work. I think you can do even more, a lot more. And when I do my work session, this doesn't have to be you. Some people like to do like 1 hour, 15 minutes break, 15 minutes, 10 minutes break, all this type of things in between of that deep session. Me, I literally, when I start, I just keep going until I have to like eat my breakfast or my lunch. Like I just keep going 2-3 hours. That's what I really, really like, because like my mind just gets even more deeper as I keep going in those hours, right? So that when I say 10-hour work days, 6 to 7 hours, it's like proper work, and then these 3 hours, it's really doing shit like this or doing admin stuff, like doing like some finance bullshit that doesn't really actually move the needle, more so on the back end, and like doing proper work. Okay, that's my point. Like literally sitting at the same desk, same room, same setup, same view, and doing the same fucking thing. Okay, that shit takes power, that shit takes strength, and at this point, you're gonna get to a point where you're so used to it. Like it's easy to be motivated when you're successful, right? When you start seeing success. So it's easy for me to do these type of hour work days now. So like even just the thought of people not being able to focus for 90 days, 90 minutes is insane. It's insane how you cannot do that. Like it's genuinely mind blowing how people just cannot sit for 90 minutes and just do something. Like I cannot even, I cannot even fathom that. I cannot even imagine that. All right, that's the level of work ethic that you can eventually get to when you start loading, when you start phasing it up, when you just keep doing it, where your muscles and your memory and your brain is just so good and compounded. Where like, dude, like you can literally just do it and without worrying about what the average person's worrying about. And Hormozy, people like Hormozy, they do it at even a bigger scale, right? And this is the loading that I'm talking about. Trying to get to even that level, because he wakes up at like 4-5 a.m. He gets good sleep as well, and then he's just working until he's sleeping, like literally 12 to 14-hour work days, right? That's really the next level. I don't know if I can actually do that types, but that's probably where you just keep loading and eventually you just get there, right? So that's how it really works, all right? Weekends are work days, so every Saturday I'm still doing work that I necessarily wouldn't have as BAU work, so business as usual, because a lot of my clients, a lot of the people that I'm actually dealing with and signing my deals and doing emails, as well as my team, they're off on the weekends, right? So I do things that I would usually do that are still higher leverage, that moves the needle, but I don't really need others to really go and do. And it's still a lot of deep work. It's still a lot of like planning the leads, planning like a sales outreach or just a system, and just designing it. So doing all of those things yet, but then most of where I can actually just do them without anybody else needed. And that's why I spend my Saturdays. Sundays I wake up, I do a couple hours of work, and then I just do some rest. Like I'm still trying to rest, not really trying to burn out this week. 1 trip a quarter, that's it. So look, I haven't even taken a holiday all year. All right, literally all year, I haven't taken a holiday. So in this entire first half, not even 1 trip. So dude, you can even take this as 1 trip a quarter, or even like 2 trips in a year. It is what it is. Friends are frustrated with my response time, all right? So that's really the cost. Now look, I barely speak to my friends like at all, unless it's about work. Unless you're making money with me, not really speaking to you. And my friends are fine with that. Like I have made sure that my friend circle are people that understand that it has to be low maintenance, all right? It just has to be a low maintenance. I have never had one situation as well where my friends are literally like putting relationships online just because I haven't spoken to them, because I think they just know I'm busy, and I've designed my life that way. Like I don't want to fucking just speak to you every day. There's nothing to speak about. There's nothing to speak about, all right? So there's weeks and months on end where I just do not speak to my friends, and sometimes I get messages like, where the hell have you been? Like, keep in touch. What the hell? And yes, there's some friends that even though they do not have any idea of the world I'm in and just this internet money thing and all this thing that's out there, I can still share these type of things with, right? So even as I'm saying this, another thing is just you're also going to find your real friends in this process, all right? But you have to sacrifice. The point of this is just loading it up, saying no, sacrificing on just spending time in messaging these people or calling them and doing FaceTimes and even just meeting them, because it's pointless. It's really pointless, all right? Now, numbers are growing, right? The example that I gave you today, the numbers are growing, but still just showing up, like it's still the same damn thing, right? Like still nothing has changed, right? All right, so what you're gonna see at 25 is the result of everything that you just keep pulling back, right? So now, me at 25. So in 5 years, I could have 6 million settled, because with 6 million, this is the math, like literally trying to show you the math of what is possible with just this much amount of money and what you can really be doing with the action math and your lifestyle. All right, so let's say I'm investing that 6 million, I'm getting a nice 18% returns, which is honestly, look, I know it sounds aggressive, but look, I made 10% last year without even doing anything, because the dollar just booms up compared to the rupee, like literally without doing anything. All you people out there flexing your investments, like, yeah, I just made 10%, dude. Like, I did that without doing anything. All right, this is the kind of opportunity now, and at this age, at this level that you're at, where you're really just working on so much cash flow, you're just working where your income is the biggest driver, not your investments. You can always make that money back, so you can take risky decisions. All right, you can generally take risky decisions. So when I say 18%, and dude, like even if you just buy Bitcoin today, in the next 2-3 years, it's going to be at least triple of what it is now. At least triple, all right? So you're literally making 100% on your investments, all right? Easy. So 18%, in my opinion, very, very, very pessimistic, all right? And from that 18%, you're not even spending half of that, all right? So more than 50% is actually getting reinvested back into the investments, just so that you can actually compound that portfolio, and then you have 540 grand just to literally spend, all right? Literally spend, all right? So you're actually reinvesting half. I would say ideally you want to reinvest a bit more, just obviously think about the future, but like with that 540 grand, you can have dinners with friends in Dubai or wherever the hell you want to go to Nobu, pick up the damn bill and pay for it all, and take them out, and you can have 4 to 5 trips a year, all business class with the family, spending a nice 10, 12, even 20 grand on some trips just because you can. Just because you can, right? You have 1 or even 2 finance premium cars like a Range or a Lambo or a Ferrari or Porsche, and you're living in an amazing Dubai apartment. Like right now, the place I am staying at, it's a penthouse, 4 bedrooms, barely what this is. Like I could literally do double of this and have a villa in this amount of money, right? In this amount of money. So you can have an amazing apartment, amazing lifestyle, also support your family's apartment, and really just spend a nice 15-20 grand a month there as well, all right? Like easily. At least have 100 grand in vouchers. You could spend 20-30 grand, even 50 grand every single month, every single year, and all the other years that even comes to that, you'll have a nice watch collection, right? And then there's gonna be like philanthropy or whatever else you really want to just spend your money on. It's really up to you, like whatever you really value and see your expression of your money with, and just give back a little. You always have that buffer, you always have that amount of money, right? But now 20 million at 25 years old. Honestly, 20, I think by the time I'm 25, I'll have even more. Like 20 million is like a pessimistic number that I've taken. I think an easy 25-30 is easily possible. But look, with that money, all right, like with 20 million, what can I get, right? What is this possible now? In just the same age of 25, right? You have 6 million, you have 20 million. What is possible, all right? So again, 18%, you have 3.6 million that you're making, and then half of that you just reinvest back. Literally, you're compounding your investment portfolio every single time. So the next year you have like 21, or let's just take 22 million. You're again making 18% on that. So like you literally have even more amount of money to just spend on, right, the next year. Literally the previous slide, you have this much to just spend more the next year. All right, just that's the difference. It's just 14 million, but that's a big stretch in difference, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. So, with that, this is the lifestyle that you could really do. You're hosting Monaco Grand Prix yacht weekends, you're taking your friends, you're flying them out, spending 70, 100 grand on these type of vacations or these occasions, going all these festivals. You're flying, if you're not flying private jet, because typically at this level, you still probably cannot fly like properly private jet every single time, but you could go into a smaller one and just fly a nice first class like Singapore Airlines, own a nice Marbella villa where, if you're not staying in it, you're actively getting investment out of it from your Airbnb, and you can easily do 8 to 10 trips, even 12, so pretty much one every single month. This time, you have a fleet of supercars, all right? So you literally have all the brands that you name, like a Porsche, a McLaren, a Cullinan, a Ferrari, a Lambo, all of it, right? You could literally have all of these. Chauffeur driver, now look, honestly, in India as well, like especially there, like you can do that with a couple million as well, but I just still put it there. Then you can own a penthouse, so you don't have to just rent, you can own it. You can also have a Mumbai house for your family, like, or wherever the hell they're located, doesn't have to be just that. And then also just have a nice farmhouse where you have a bunch of horses, you have a nice farm, you're actually growing your own food, you're farming your own food, you're getting your own livestock. And this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, where you have all these assets that are just spread out, there's so much more comfort, and then your philanthropy level is also, it's also just like in a whole different game, right? Now, at this stage, do you really want to spend like millions in watches, or do you want to just really like build schools, or like do whatever it is that you think you want to be charitable towards? It could also just be buying assets for your family and just holding it in their name, or just setting up a trust for their name and just, like setting it up for your great grandchildren. So this is where you start really playing empire games, right? Like you're playing empire mode, you're playing legacy. You're just literally thinking about 100 years from now what you could like give back for your bloodline or your kids or your grandkids and whatever it is, right? This is what it could look like, right? When you just pull it back, when you just keep compounding the motion and you keep showing up every single day, right? And this is the absolute difference between even people who can be in a very good position and then an absolute fuck you position, right? Like, as I like to say, right? So look, this is that. And these are the numbers that, again, I don't want to sound like a finance guru because I'm sure you've seen it everywhere. To the average person, go and invest your money. In 35 years, it is going to compound and you will be a millionaire. All right, bro, I'm going to invest 10 grand then. Cool. Yeah. But look, at this stage, look, I have to just show these numbers because even at 6 million in 20 years, yes, you're going to have a lot of money. Don't know what inflation is going to look like, but still, like, this is still a lot of money. I don't think inflation's really going to matter at this stage, but then you could either have twice that amount of money, right? So a 14 million difference. So what is 14 million so 6 to 20, right? Like it's not even 3, it's about 3x, yeah. So 6, 12, yeah, 3x, right? So just the $14 million difference at 25 is a 284 million difference at 45, right? So I know, like, with 164, the difference between these two is a 50-meter yacht versus a 200-meter yacht. Like it's really that. And I don't even know what you do with this much amount of money. I guess it's really just about a number then, and just really trying to hit new highs or whatever it is, right? But even 10 years down the line, right? Like, if you think about the prime years of any male, that's 28 to 38. So you haven't even entered that. Like, I don't even want to think about what the next 8 years is going to look like what it's going to be at 28. I don't even know. Like, it's insane how things can really just compound when you keep showing up and you keep adding that motion and that momentum to it, right? So at 20 million at 25, enough money, a lot of money. By the time I'm 35, I could literally just have 9 figures. 9 figures of just easy money, right? This is the choice that you make. So the choice that you actually make at 20 is what matters, right? And this is how they actually operate. So at this level, you are now thinking empire mode. You're thinking about how can I put this big egg nest for your children, your grandchildren. Obviously, I'm never gonna just like give money to my sons. Like they're gonna have to fucking own it. But yeah, like this is what you can really do, right? This is how the rich people really also do it, which is they never actually invest in their own name. So they open like a whole co or operating co, and they open in places like Dubai, and that entity makes the investments. From those investments, they go to the bank and then they just borrow money, right? So they borrow money at 5%, they're making it at, let's just say, 15, not even 18%. You have that extra 10% to live off of, and you keep using that money to just live and live your life, because it's a lot. It's still enough. That 10% is just enough to live your lifestyle and spend your money. And at the same time, you're not really getting taxed on your 18% returns, because it is always getting lent back. And there's so many things that you were never taught in school. Like, why do I want to do this personally when anyways I'm not getting taxed in Dubai versus a whole co? Because when you die, there's going to be death insurance and death taxes, and just things like, even if it's not investments in Dubai, it's going to be foreign investments, all these things, right? They will still tax you, right? If you hold it in Dubai now, they don't really tax you, but there's so many things in the US which people don't really get taught, which is like, let's say you have these assets and you suddenly just die. The people who are going to actually take it on and inherit the money, they're going to have like a nice 40-50% inheritance tax. Like, at this stage, you're making all these moves to really think about the people you're going to give it on to, right? So this is how they really operate. They're not even playing with just their cash. They're just borrowing and giving the banks the money, and they don't even care that they're going to pay 5% on 100 million, which is literally 5 million, because of the tax benefits and all these other things that they really get, right? So this is how all the rich people do it. Like Bezos, Zuck, they really inherit that debt with zero capital gain, never really taxed. And this is where they're just playing entity games, and in their name, they don't own anything, right? And to be able to just get to that level, you want to have so much cash, you want to have so much money that you can just deploy without thinking about, like in lawyers, in accountants, and all these people that just know so much, and things like this, where you can actually just maneuver the system or just play it at a very big level, at a very good level, right? So think about all these other things. This is me literally tangibly showing what could be possible in the next 5 years, 10 years. And then this is how I actually work. So just thinking a bit about what literally happens, right? Like, I wake up, I go to the gym, and then the only breaks I take is when I'm eating food, right? So I'm literally working till I rest. I take a few hours before sleeping, and then I go to bed, all right? One task at a time. Every time my team's like, hey, can we do a meeting? And like, no, like, put an agenda for the damn meeting, all right? I'm not just gonna come on the meeting and just be there for half an hour and then just listen about all these problems and things like that, where it could have either just been solved with a 2-minute Loom video from me, or literally, unless there's an agenda where we're actually accomplishing something. Like, I don't want to spend that time, all right? So one task, when I'm done, then the next. No tabs, no just checking and shit like that. Same setup, like I said earlier, literally the same thing. And I've already honestly talked about this, but just again a reminder, like just a reminder about, this is the gap between 200 grand a year, which people dream of. Like, people dream of just making multi-six figures and having a really nice salary and being able to do this, and they work 10-15 years just to get there. And it's insane to think about doing this type of thing at just 20 years old. And many people out there doing it now, like now in 2026. This is back in like 2020, 2018. Obviously, there were much less amount of people doing this, but when I'm showing you this is the 1% of that 1%. All right, this is how the actual people who have an insane level of ambition are doing it. And look, I'm not here to tell you like you have to be like this type of guy and have this level of ambition. I feel like my audience really understands that, and that's at least me. But look, if you're the kind of person who's making nice multi-six figures a year, you get to travel every single month, you get to go with your wife, your girlfriend, whatever it is, just really have an amazing time, a peaceful time, clock out at 4, go to the beach in Bali. Like, it's fine. Like, it's generally fine. I'm not shitting on you guys for not having any ambition. I envy that sometimes, like, why the hell am I doing this type of work? But that's my calling, okay? That is what I want to see myself doing. That's the challenge that I have put on myself. That's what I really like. So I'm going to go and try to do that, all right? So no shitting on them. But look, it's just insane how efficient you can be with your money and at this level. Like, even 6 figures, multi a year, you can have amazing lifestyles yet. But then there's just insane levels, right? Think 10x that is 3 million. I showed you what 6 million does. Amazing. Even 3 million is really good, especially for places like India. And then there's 30. All right, mic drop. Look, in the week and in the micro, right? Looking at those day-to-days and just how much you want to really just be sacrificing. Like, I have a glass of wine here and there, but I don't really go out on weekends anymore. I'm really doing shit where I do shit on the weekdays, I fuck it up on the weekends, or like just doing things that do not have an immediate impact on my time. So it's really about looking at your time in such a crucial manner. Like, it's so important, like so valuable, right? And literally looking at that time like it costs you every single hour. And 3 months of pulling back, like now I've been just doing this for 5 months now, just literally just pulling it back as much as I can. And look, the micro is the macro, right? You hold the tension through the daily cycle, you're going to start seeing the ripple effect in the longer cycle. It's really that simple. And look, caveat to this, just know, don't burn out at the same time, take your rest. You do, burnout's real, don't think you're superhuman, where I'm going to sleep 4 hours, wake up at 6 a.m., go back to sleep at 6. No, like just make sure that you obviously rest, make sure that you make sure you're doing that when you can. And then also you're going to know, all right? Don't let that also be an excuse. And again, just a bit to end this off about like, this is what you don't see. Because like imagine now, just imagine there's a human right here sitting right next to me and they're just staring at me entire day. How boring would that be? So nobody can actually see the work, right? Nobody would actually ever be able to see the work and how much you're actually pulling back and how much you're actually just doing, because it's boring. It's boring. And they just cannot sit there for 90 minutes doing something for themselves. What are they going to do but just being able to see the work, right? So when I'm telling you all these things, like you're never going to see the 14-hour work days. You're never going to see all the no's that you're saying, all the sacrifices, all the times you're turning down this thing or that thing, and the loneliness that comes with it, right? And the hardest thing that comes with the work, it's the feeling. It's just the feeling of how hard it is. Because it's easy to do that for weeks, but then, or just days actually, but then when you actually take it for weeks and months on end, just think about dealing with that level of responsibility, that weight of your own expectations that nobody will truly understand how, like, it's insane. Nobody expects a 20-year-old to do this type of shit, right? So just think about the weight that it carries with that. And that's truly the hardest thing. It's being able to deal with that. When things go wrong in the business and then the team have just really made some big mistakes, errors that they have to take ownership for, you still feel responsible. You still feel the blame. And that's like at a just a multiple level of everybody in the team and just everything that's happening overall in the business, right? You as the founder, you as a CEO are always going to have that level of weight, all right? So what you're going to see is the Rolex, is the Lambo, it's all these other things, but you do not see this, and you will never see this. And like, it's going to be hard for you guys to ever understand that until you've actually done it and come to the other side, because then you're going to just see how hard it took and how much work was actually required. But this is it. This is what you don't see, right? This is really what makes it compounded, right? This is really what goes into stacking. You're just stacking it literally every day for years on end, right? I see myself doing this for at least the next 3 years, all right? And I don't mind it because the leverage and the ROI on that is still insane, because I'm still 20. I'm still young. I can do this. I have nothing else to really do. And yeah, they say like, you're young, live your life. But dude, your prime years as a dude do not even start until you're 28. Right? They do not even start until you are 28. So just think about everything that you could do in the next 8 years, accomplish, and then live your prime life and just live that life that you want to be living. Right? So 5 years from now, which deck will you be writing? Which side will you be writing? Are you going to be writing this side? It could be whatever number you think is there, right? But are you going to really take it seriously and actually stick it through and keep compounding and keep the promises to yourself that you make, right? Are you this type of person? Are you this type of person, right? Like which one are you going to be? And that's a big decision that you want to make. Now again, I want to just give a nice disclaimer if that is not what you want. Like I know many entrepreneurs as well that they are very nice and happy with making a nice 50, 60 grand a month, regular lifestyle, traveling every single month, absolutely happy, enjoying, and it's fine. It's completely fine. You are still living an extraordinary life that many people will never be able to do. All right. So never, not trying to shame you guys, and not trying to look very testosterone macho things like that. Again, look, it's really about what do you want, and then what story are you really gonna